Good morning, students. In the web programming subject, in the previous lecture, we have completed our unit number 5, that is the client-side programming with JavaScript. So till now, we have seen HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now today we have to start with the new topic, or you can say new chapter and new unit, that is the PHP. And PHP is used as a server-side scripting language. JavaScript we have seen as a client-side scripting language, right? So now today we have to start with that new particular unit. So now let me share the screen with you. Okay, so our name of today's unit, that is the server-side programming with PHP. Right? In that we have to cover these many topics. First of all, we will learn what is the difference between basically client-side and server-side scripting. Client-side, which we have learned in the JavaScript, and the server-side that we are going to see, that is in a PHP language. Now, what is the structure of PHP page? How to do the programming? What will be the syntax? Then how to use the variables, decision, and looping with example. Then PHP and HTML, arrays and functions, string, form processing, how to create file uploads, dates and time zone, working with regular expressions, exception handling means any error if generated during the execution of program, basic concepts of session and state as it is a server side. So how much time it will wait, and that will come in a session and state. Then state management using the query string, hidden form controls, cookies, and session variables. So these things we have to learn in this chapter, right? So now let us start with the first of all introduction portion, and the first topic, that is what is the difference between the server side and client side scripting. So introduction of server side scripting. So basically server side scripting is a technique which is used in a web development, right? As whenever we will term as a server side, so web server will come in our mind, because in client side scripting we have seen that user will design a particular web page, and that is the code is known to him, right? If I'm going to design any web page form, right? So that is a client side scripting where I am using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But now, whenever I will make a request to for a particular website, then that particular development will come in a server side scripting, and that's why it is a technique which is used in a web development. Which involves scripts execution on a web server. Now, as it is a website server scripting language, so but obviously it is going to execute on a web server, which produce a response customized for each user's request to the website. So whenever a user is sending a request to for a particular website, then it will go and check in a web server whether it is available or not, and it will return, or it will give a response in terms of that particular link. So it will deal with a different client's request, and based on that, it will web server will respond to the particular user. Server-side scripting is often used to provide a customized interface to the user, right? Because whatever available means the server-side scripting basically used to run on a web server that we have discussed. So basically, often used to provide a customized interface to the user, means whatever the result or response which is coming from the web server, that should be a customized. Server-side scripting also enables the website owner to hide the source code that generates the interface. So whatever website is requested by the client, that website is going to be displayed on the user screen, but how that website is generated and developed, that code is going to be hide from the user. Whereas the client-side scripting, the user has access to all the code received by the client. So this is the major difference. Again, I'm reading this last point. Server-side scripting also enables the website owner to hide the source code, while it was not there in a client-side scripting. The user has access to all code because it is going to develop by its coding, right? That's why this is the one difference that we have find. Now, a disadvantage is that client needs to make further request over the network to access the new information from the server. So whenever a user wants to access that particular site, so it has to again request to the server. Now, if some modification has been done, again it has to request the server, so it will get it. So this is a disadvantage, that client needs to make further request over the network to access that particular information. And now that can slow down process for website and applications. Again and again request. If clients are doing, then it will make means a huge load will come on the web server to give the response. So that's why the process will go, or we can say process is going slow down. And the best example is, that for that thing, if any university result is going to be declared, then all the students are trying to access that particular website of the university, and inside that result section. So process is going very slow, and sometimes the server goes down, right? So you will not be able to get the result. So this is the main scenario behind it. Web servers can execute online scripting language such as Active, VFP, ASP, C, Java, JavaScript, Perl, PHP, Python, R, and Ruby. So these are the examples of languages, programming languages, which will be able to use in this website server scripting. And from this, we are going to use, we are going to learn in this chapter, that is a PHP. And apart from PHP, these are the possible options that we can use for the server-side scripting programming language. Now, server-side scripting uses protocols HTTP, CGI, SCGI, FCGA, AJP, that is Apache, Java Server Protocol, WSRP, that is Web Service for Remote Portless WebSocket for different purposes. So as we have to deal with the different web servers. So with this particular server-side programming, so this kind of protocol will come in the picture, right? That is HTTP, CGI, Common Gateway Interface, HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and so many other protocols are available over here. So that you have to just remember for the introduction point of view. Now, this is the difference between the client side and server side. So first point in the client side scripting is that it is used at the front end, which users can see from the browser, right? Because users knows code over here. So that is the front side, we can say. It is used at the back end where the source code is not available or hidden at the client side. This is the browser. So over here, server side scripting, only the website will be displayed to the user, means it the source code is hidden or it is working in the back side. While in the client-side scripting, the user is already developing the web page, so it is possible to see the source code. Now, second point, a browser runs the script for client-side scripting that is already present in the user's computer, right? This particular script is available in the user's computer. Why? Because the user has developed that particular script. That's why. While a web server runs the script from the server-side scripting, that creates the page which needs to be sent to the browser, right? So it is available on the web server. It happens when the browser possesses all the codes and the page in later change according to the user's input. So over here, the modification is possible. It happens when the user's browser initiate a server request. Dynamic pages are then created based on the several conditions. So over here, user has to send the request if any dynamic change will come. While over here, in the file is available with it, so directly it can change it. So no need to do the request and all this thing. Now the scripting process of client server is executed on a local computer, and thus the response is comparatively quicker when compared to the server-side scripting, because you are creating over here your own file. So whenever you are just running on the local host, so directly you will be able to see the web page. While in the case of server-side scripting, it will take a lot of time, because if a particular website is going to be accessed by many of the clients, then the load will be there in the web server and the response will come definitely, but it will take a time. So the scripting process for the server side is done on the remote computer, and hence the response is comparatively slower than the client side one, because over here we are running on the local host, and over here we are going to run on the web server, right? Now the fifth difference, it does not connect to the databases that are on the web server, right? So client side scripting is not doing the means database connectivity will be there, but it will not do the database connectivity with the web server. While in the server side, it helps in connecting to the database that are already present in the web server. So this is the biggest advantage we can say. Over here in the client side, we have to create a database and we have to we have to do the connection with that. But over here, if already database is available on a web server, then directly PHP and MySQL, that is the next, we can say next chapter is there. Inside that, we can learn about the directly database connectivity on the web server. 6 point, it is excellent for any case which require user interaction. It excellent for any area that requires loading of dynamic data. So that the server side scripting basically used for the dynamic purpose, and this is means we can say it's a user is dealing with that, so user interaction is better in this particular client side scripting. Now 7 point, language is commonly used for the client side scripting, that is JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and VB. These are the programming languages which are going to be used over here, right? While in the case of server-side scripting, as we have seen, PHP, Ruby, Perl, Python, ASP, these are the programming languages which are used in a server-side scripting. Now, the point number 8 is it has no access to all the files present in the web server, right? Some of the files it may be available to download, but not possible to access all the files which are available in the server. While in the case of a server-side scripting, it has access to all the files, right, which are available in the server. It is less secure because the scripts are usually not hidden from the client end. So it is not secure because if it is available in a local system, then anyone can change the script, right? While in the case of a web server, it is more secure than the client-side scripting, as the server-side scripts are usually hidden from the client and located on the server. So directly access is not possible. So server side is more secure compared to the client side. So these are the 9 basic difference that you have to remember for the exam point of view, right? So this is just a figure which is differentiating the client side and server side scripting. Over here, you can see that a web browser is there and scripting. So over here, you are running on the local host. So directly scripting and browsers are available over here only. Right? While in the case of server side scripting, user has to send a request to access that. So network will come in the picture, right? And through the interface, it will do the CGI program. Means this is an interface which is used to do, which is helpful to do the database connectivity if any database is available on the web server through this programming, right? So these are the server side scripting pages connected to the server API program. It is nothing but a response, right? Which is given, means whatever server side pages which we are going to design, that is available on the web browser by the user, and request will be made on the network, right? And in the backend, it is connected with the database connectivity, which is not available over here that you can see. So this is the main difference, which is explained over here in this figure. Right? So this was all about the difference between the client side and server side scripting, and I hope it's very easy with the difference. Now let's start with the introduction of PHP that we have to learn in this particular chapter. So basically, PHP is an acronym for hypertext preprocessor. This is the full form. So many times in the Viva examination, or whenever we are asking to the student that what is the full form of PHP, then it is known as a hypertext preprocessor. So that you have to remember. PHP is a widely used and open source server-side scripting language. This is the, we can say, a scientist who has developed this language. So Rasmus Lerdorf unleashed the first version of PHP in the 1994. Then PHP file contains text also possible. Similarly, HTML language is also possible. CSS, JavaScript, and PHP code. So basically, whenever you are going to design a one particular PHP file for a server-side scripting, it contains text, HTML code, CSS code, JavaScript, and PHP syntax also, right? Now, PHP files have an extension .php. Whenever you are going to create a PHP file, then extension is .php. While in the case of JavaScript, it was .js. Similarly, for .html, .css, like that. PHP code are executed on the server, and the result is returned to the browser as a in a HTML form. So this is the important point. Now, it is used to manage dynamic content, database, and session tracking, even build entire e-commerce sites. So all these e-commerce sites are developed in a, we can say, server-side scripting with the help of PHP language, because basically database connectivity is more important, because whenever you are going to going to create any real-time application, so database should be there. And whenever database comes into the picture, so database connectivity with the server, that is more easy in the PHP side. So nowadays you are knowing that web developers which are doing their job, basically, so the web pages and the websites, they are designing inside the PHP language. So nowadays, so many other languages are also available, like Python and all that. But this is regarding the PHP, which was very easy to create also at that time. It is used to manage dynamic content. So this is the advantage. It can manage the dynamic content. Database connectivity is available. Session tracking, you can provide the session timing. Even build the entire e-commerce site. So these are the advantages to do the scripting, website scripting inside the PHP language. Now PHP runs on various platforms. So we can say it's a platform independent. You can run on any of the on any of the operating system like Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac, OS, etc. Right? So we can say it's a platform independent. This is the biggest advantage. Second, now PHP is compatible with almost all the servers used today, like Apache, IIS, etc. So this is again the third advantage, that it is compatible with all the types of servers whenever you are doing this scripting language or program. PHP supports a wide range of databases. This is again the advantage. Now, which are the characteristics of PHP? Simplicity, efficiency, security, flexibility, and familiarity, right? So these are the five characteristics that also you have to remember, that is the simplicity, efficiency, security, flexibility, and familiarity, right? Now, common uses of PHP. Which are the common use of PHP? So PHP performs system functions. As for example, from files on a system, it can create, open, read, write, and close them. So these are the basic file-related functions that can be used by the PHP. So PHP performs some system functions regarding the files like create, open, read, write, and close. Similarly, PHP can handle forms, right? Which are the forms? So gather data from the file, save data to a file. Through email, you can send the data, return data to the user. So these are the again other basic functionalities that can be used by the PHP regarding the email, or send the data, save the data, manage the data, modify the data, like that. You can add, delete, modify the elements within your database through the PHP. This is the again biggest advantage we can say, because modification of elements inside the data which are stored on a web server, that is not an easy task, right? But it is giving the advantage for this. access cookies variables and the set cookies. You can use these things using PHP. You can restrict user to access some pages of your website, but if you don't want to means some pages which you have created and you want to give the access only to the authorized user or who have created the account. So for that you can put this restriction that this particular web page will be available to the person who has done the login. Otherwise, this particular page is not available. Right? It can encrypt the data. This is again a good advantage. Means some message if you want to given as a in terms of an encryption format, right? So this was the introduction of PHP. Now inside the basics of PHP. PHP files and with the .php extensions, you may see PHP 3, PHTML, PHP 4 as well as per the versions. You can change your syntax to save the file, right? Now basically PHP code is contained within this tag. These two tags are used to then less than bracket the question mark PHP question mark and like this is the opening tag and this is the closing tag. Similarly, in short open, they are using this less than question mark greater than. So basically, these two tags are widely used to do this programming in a server-side programming within this PHP language. Now, script tags with the HTML script tag, if you want to do this programming, then this syntax is removed after the PHP 7.0 version. But before that, they were using like this script language PHP and closing of script. So this is the opening tag and this is the closing tag. In between that, you can provide the PHP means code, whatever the code is there, you can put in between this particular script, right? Right. So this was regarding the HTML and how to use the comment. Apart from that, one ASP comment is also there, like less than star and star less than like that. Right. Comments for a single line comment, you have to use the double backslash, and for the multi-line, you have to use backslash star, star, and backslash. So that you earlier used in your C or C++ or Java programming language. Similarly, over here, this is the meaning of these comments for the single line, how to use the single line, and for the multi-line, right? So this is the code. Inside that, we have to write our program. So now this is the basic example which I have given over here or explained over here. PHP structure. This is the main thing. How to do the programming with the help of PHP. So what will be the structure, right? So as we know that we can do this with the this HTML code, right? So this is the first example, right? So a doc type HTML body, the header part that is the my first PHP page, and inside that you have to use this syntax that we have seen over here. Opening and closing tag of PHP. So less than question mark PHP. Inside that, instead of print, now you have to use the echo. Echo is basically similar to the print, right? Both are used to display the output on the string. But as per the syntax, now you have to use this command that is the echo and hello world. So that will print this message on your screen. And this is the closing tag of PHP. This is the closing tag of body and HTML. So here you can see the output header part, my first PHP page, and hello world, right? So this was the basic structure or syntax in which we can do the programming. Now this is the second example, doc type HTML body. Now why I'm explaining this rest of the two examples, meaning over here in PHP keywords, if, else, while, echo, these are the keywords of PHP, we can say that, or functions and user defined functions are not case sensitive. So this is again the biggest advantage. Whatever PHP keywords are there, like if, else, if, while, echo, similarly, these are the keywords, right, that we are using inside the PHP programming language. So all these are not case sensitive. Means over here in the second example, here you can see that I'm writing echo in all the capital letters. I'm writing echo in all the small letters. I'm making one or two letters as a capital, two as a small. So I'm over here, I'm writing echo message in a three different ways, right? So it is valid. It is not case sensitive, right? So the output will be displayed hello world, hello world, hello world. Means all these three are valid. But the thing is that all the variable names are case sensitive. So you cannot do any modification with the variable name. So what is variable name? How to define that? We are going to see in the next slide. But before that, let me tell you inside the body. Now here you can do that. This is the opening tag of PHP. Now how to define a variable? So you have to put the dollar sign before any variable name. So this will become a variable inside the PHP language. So dollar color is, it is a variable name equal to red. You are providing the value red. Now if you want to print this message echo, then this is the message my car is, then dot is using for the concatenation, right? So my car is red color, right? If you want to do this thing. So dot that is used for the concatenation. So dot then dollar color if you are writing, then it will print my car is red. BR is for new line. Now suppose if you are writing in this way, echo my house is dot color in a capital letter. Now this is not valid because it is a case sensitive. So whatever you have defined, variable you have defined over here, in the same way you have to write over here. Otherwise it will not take. So over here color is in a capital letter, right? So it will not access. So over here you can see that in the first output my car is red. That is valid. But as you have used all the capital letters in a color, so my house is and output is not going to be taken. Similarly, in the third one, CO is a small letter while LOR is the capital letter. So again, this is case sensitive. It will not work. So my vote is and then output will not be there, right? So that's why this is the advantage that all the keywords which we are using in the PHP, these are the not case sensitive, but the variable name is case sensitive. So you have to remember these three examples. And this is nothing but a PHP structure page, how you can do the programming of PHP and how to use the echo command to print or display a message. Now we have to see each and everything like variables, how to define variables, looping mechanism, array, functions, that things will come in the upcoming lectures. So now today I'm going to conclude our session. Today we have seen the difference between client side and server side scripting. Also, we have seen the introduction of PHP and PHP structure of a page. So in the next lecture, we will start with the next topic. So till then, stay at your home, stay safe, goodbye everyone, and do the practice of programming practice of this particular language. So thank you everyone.